Hello,
Good
everyone.
morning, good morning,
Good
welcome.
morning.
We, the hosts, are here in Brazil.
And
Hello.
Hi.
Hi, Werner. Hi, Cardelin.
good afternoon.
Good morning.
Tommy, hello, Tony.
Tony Jenkins.
Good morning.
Tony. Hello, Tony.
Good
Good
morning.
Good
morning.
afternoon.
Good afternoon. Yeah, good morning in Canada.
Here it's 10 a.m. in Brazil now. Canada, what time is it?
It's
Yeah.
8 o'clock in the morning.
Oh, earlier.
Wow.
You are in my past.
Yes.
I think it's amazing how time can be so different. We're living the same now, but our time is different. No? Even in Brazil, because Brazil stretches from north to south, you know, the sunset and the sunrise is in different hours here. So it's really, I think this is amazing that someone is feeling the sun at the same time, but at a different hour. It's
Can communicate.
yes, Bernard.
In spite of the difference of languages, because even if we all are speaking English, we are speaking different kinds of English. My English is Brazilian English.
Yes.
Canadian
I was
English
always-
and Kenyan English is different.
I was always telling my students we don't speak English, we speak Ilse. Ilse is a German name, and Ilse means international language similar to English.
Good.
So in some
Yes.
way, this is what we do.
And what about the French English?
Yeah, there is the French English
Spanglish.
also. And the Japanese English, Indian English. Is Nietzsche here already? Nietzsche is from India. You are here, Nietzsche? William, Bill is
Alicia
here.
is trying to open her camera. Just I will help her.
Juan Pablo and Bernardo Salgado from Ecuador, the land or where the Buen Vivir idea has spread out of the world. First country in which the earth has rights. William.
Hi,
William,
Master. Hello, everybody.
Hi, Ben.
Hi, here.
Hi.
Ben arrived.
Good morning. Good morning to
Good
everyone
morning, everyone.
all around the world.
Good evening, guys.
Yes.
Good evening,
Good evening,
Ben.
good morning.
It's evening for Ben in Kenya.
Yeah, here
So-
it's 4 p.m.
4 p.m.
4 p.m.
Oh,
Okay.
No, so it's afternoon. Yeah, already.
So we have
It's
2
afternoon,
p.m.
yeah. Oh, you have 2 p.m.
Yeah, in Europe. Yeah.
Aha.
Well, guys, let's start now. So, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to all of you who have accepted the invitation to prepare the opening of the University of the Buen Vivir, or University of Good Living, at the World Social Forum that will happen 11 days from now. On behalf of the Campaign for a Global Curriculum of Social Solidarity Economy and of the International Board of the University of the Buen Vivir, welcome.
Thank you.
Sylvia, could you put the Zoom on me? Hi, Liz. Liz from Spain has arrived.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, Liz.
Hi.
So, I am Mads engineer for those who do not know me. A Brazilian educator and social activist from the Center of Creation of Grassroots Images, CECIP, and I will be hosting this meeting with friends Alicia Cabezudo, Flavia Fassi, and Silvia Fittipaldi, who will also be responsible for the technical aspects of this meeting. So let's start by making a check-in. Please write in the chat your name, the place where your feet touch the ground, that is, the land which you inhabit, your organization, and then write a short sentence on what do you understand when you hear the expression good living or bien vivir, okay? While you are writing in the chat, let's review our program for today. In the first 30 minutes that started now, you will have an overview of how has evolved this concept of Bien Vivir University since it has emerged in June last year from a meeting at the World Social Forum. After this first 30 minutes, my colleague Flavia will make a summary in 5 minutes of your comments and questions that we'll be writing in the chat. While we are speaking, you will be writing questions and comments in the chat, and then Flavia will make a summary, and we, Silvia, Alicia, and I will comment on on your observations. And at this first 30 minutes, we'll go to the circle of stories, because all of we are people that are building the story of the future. We are creating now the stories of the future that we want to our grandchildren and our children to live tomorrow. So let's share some of these stories. We have invited 13 friends, or 10 to 13 friends, to share their stories in this central 1 hour. So you can see that Bien Vivir already is among us. And at the end, the last 30 minutes, we'll dedicate to talk about the great party that will be the opening of the University of Buen Vivir at the World Social Forum. So how is the chat going? I see that 7 people have already checked in. So let's continue to write your names, the place where you are, and also what do you understand by Buen Vivir. And while you continue to check in, I will give the word to my dear friend, Alicia Cabezudo. Alicia Cabezudo is from Argentina. She is the member of the campaign for a global curriculum of social solidarity economy and part of the international board of the University of Buen Vivir. Alicia is a professor who does research studies and training on peace education, citizenship, and human rights. She is the representative of the International Peace Bureau, Berlin, and of the Global Alliance for Ministries of Peace, Ministries and Structures for Peace in Latin America, GMIP. So let's welcome Alicia, it's with you.
Hello, how are you? Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, all right? I hope not good night. How do you do? All right, I am in charge of making in very short 6 or 7 minutes the explanation of the start of what we are trying to do and why and with who. So I'm going to have the help of my friend, my Brazilian friend, Silvia Fittipaldi, in order to help me in this explanation. It is going to be very brief, so probably you're going to make a lot of questions on that. So let's go ahead with what is the Good Living University and what we are trying to do. Please, Silvia, the first one. Thanks. Here we choose forest as a way of showing what we want to have, an open, green, and free university, which is not just the case of most of the universities we know and we teach, certainly. So let's see next, Silvia. And let's make this University of the Buen Vivir together. So I'm going to explain very shortly, and you can read while I'm explaining that this university has a previous process, have a starting point, then and we have certainly a foundation. So that previous process comes from our very start last year, when we are developing the campaign for the global curriculum on social and solidarity economy. I'm part of that group from the pedagogical group. And we started thinking that perhaps the didactics for good living may be something more than a didactic practices. So how to try to open and to settle a space where very many people coming from social movements, but also from the academia, from the universities, can think and exchange together. So in the World Social Forum on Transformative Economies that happened last June, and then the second phase last October 2020, we presented this idea to the World Social Forum on Transformative Economies, and we were invited to be part of the board of that World Social Forum, and now of the World Social Forum, the big one, that it's going to happen in the last week of January this year. Our main goal, as you see, and the main idea that I want you to research, and after this meeting, we can send you some articles in English language, of course, on the idea of good living, Buen Vivir, that is in Spanish. And the word in indigenous is Sumacawasei, that is a universal concept in very, very many peoples and regions of the world, not only Latin America. And here I have written in number 3, so if you want to have a look, the main characteristics of this concept. That it is very important to take in consideration, as we are going to ask you how to join these concepts or these characteristics of what we are doing. In my case, I'm coming from peace education field and citizenship education field. So I have to make the effort, and it was not, by the way, to gather and to link all the characteristics of good living, of what we are trying to do in the peace education, citizenship education field, for example, and that is what we are going to ask you. And the foundations. So these people that think this about good living that have started in 2020 in the World Social Forums, in what they are founded. And so or you have these foundations, the accumulation of practices and movements that we have been doing in the last, I would say, 40 years. And in point 3, educators are going to find why our pedagogies, our didactics, our instruction in theory and practices would be useful in this, as well as all the knowledge, the practices of social movements. The next one, please, Silvia. The principles. Here you have the principles in 5, 6, and 7. And I ask you to also to take in consideration, to think about them, and to think if you are working on these lines or you think it would be useful in your fields. I'm going to read very quickly. Education and the Paulo Freire concept that I'm sure all of us share. Education decolonial is a new thinking, more or less 25 years now, the last authors, that it is very strong in a Good Living University. The epistemic disobedience. Disobedience of what, you can ask? Of whom? We criticize the Eurocentrism, the capitalism, and the patriarchal racism, you know, and so we learn from practices and learnings movement. Number 7, how are we going to make it? How are we going to start this university? By formative processes, forming all the time, coming out for projects. Projects from where? For peoples from very different regions. So what we are applying and what we are addressing is for a new epistemology of the South perspective. La epistemología del sur in Spanish, but it is not only the Latin American perspective, of course. We are talking about the South and the world Southern perspective, that it is the new epistemologies that we are developing, and you're going to hear in the social forum from Professor Boaventura. The pedagogical proposals, here you have, are really pedagogical practices to inquire, to interrogate, to deepen in contents concerning what? Concerning the situations rights were violated, where dignity is violated. So that practices are coming from these studies and from this theory is what we want to exchange and to develop. Next, please, Silvia. Our educational design, number 9, 10, and 11. Here we are in the last part. So the educational design, which is quite, I would say, complex, I have to tell you, what we're trying to do, and we invite you to add to us. So the pedagogical design is, of course, a pedagogical political design. We are very clear about that. Structured by the ideas and thoughts of movements, of social organization, etc. Also, we call and we invite the articulation of these practices with academic research groups of diverse origins, with university sites already created and already working on these ideas. We also will design our curriculum on experiences of other formative spaces, allowing rethinking and validation of other philosophies and other epistemologies. So number 10 and 11 is University of Good Living Now. The immersions, the need of the immersions of this kind of university nowadays, particularly in the COVID time, particularly in these political shaken times that we have seen, for example, in North America. So with these immersions, we recognize the limits and the contradictions of the conventional mainstream sciences and Western matrix. Also, recognize emergence of other paradigmatic models with brand and new perspectives. We try or shall try to create this university from international meetings in several languages that we have already done, in Spanish, English, Portuguese, French, Japanese, and Korean. And mainly, we want to active participation from all of you. So our hope, last, is to open the epistemological reflection, thoughts, and dialogical action, to interface and create a scientific pluralism from the thinking of peoples and from the academia, contributing to a better life for humanity. That is our hope, that is our goal, and that is what we are talking today. Thank you.
Thank you very much, dear Alicia, for this presentation. We have seen many definitions of Buen Vivir here, very beautiful definitions, and all deal with the fact that for having Buen Vivir for all, we must overcome systemic oppression. We have to have nature for all. We have to have social justice, and to have to realize the essence of human dignity in practice. And also we have to build the future in the present. This what we have been discussing in 5 meetings that we have done between October and December of 2020. They were meetings organized by the Campaign of Global Curriculum of Social Solidarity Economy, in which we have invited activists all over the world to dream what could be the University of the Buen Vivir. The meetings were held in Portuguese, Spanish, English, and Japanese. We had 16 activists from around 12 countries of the 4 continents. And they all were very supportive of the proposal of a university that shall contribute for the Buen Vivir or Sumac-Calçai, a different way of living together, a different way to produce, to consume, to trade, to communicate, to educate. They agreed that the members of the University of the Buen Vivir will be universities all over the world, schools, communities, social and cultural movements, artists, cultural organizations, and that see education as a way to transform oneself and to transform the world. So all the members of the University of the Buen Vivir are educated for transformation. They like the idea of a university that is a pluriversity, promoting dialogue between theory and practice, science and art, East and West, popular traditional knowledge being valued as much as science knowledge. A university that can be a common good, a resource for common use. They recommend us to use a language that creates unity and overcomes division, that creates a common understanding of concepts such as decolonial thinking and good living, and understand that these concepts have different connotations in different cultures. As practical strategies, they suggest bottom-up, all-inclusive approaches, reaching people of all genders, all ages, all generations, especially youth and children, articulation, overcoming fragmentation, overcoming the bubbles, and creating synergy of transformative actions all over the world. Actions, theories, and practices. And also we recommended that at the University of the Good Living, we care for each other. We care for our feelings, for our emotions. And we try to manage conflicts that arise from diversity with wisdom. Having said this, I hope that you continue to making comments and questions in the chat, okay, about what I have said. Now I will give you Silvia Fittipaldi, my dear colleague, Brazilian also like me. Silvia is a Brazilian graphic designer, journalist, autonomous researcher in consciousness and symbolic language, a member of CCIP, like me, and of the Campaign for a Global Curriculum of Social Solidarity Economy, as well a member of the International Board of our University of Buen Vivir. Silvia will talk to you about the main strategy that we have thought about so far of how we could put into practice the University of Buen Vivir. And this strategy, there will be others, but this main strategy will be the circles of dialogue. So, Silvia, it's up to you.
Hello, good morning. Good morning, everyone. How are you? I hope you all are so very fine, and I hope I'm very glad we are here together. I'm here to talk about the circle of dialogue that is it's a strategy of the UBV in one of its principal acts, that is the didactics of good living. I don't know if you are hearing me. Okay.
Yes, we are.
It's so hot in Brazil. Very hot.
Yes, 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 it's very hot, guys.
Yeah, it takes our breath out. It takes out our breath.
You know, sometimes, and Sylvia, we could someday do a check-in, asking people to tell the temperature what they have at home.
How are you there?
What's the temperature?
I have to take some air in my hands. Okay. Okay, so the didactics of Buen Vivir is a philosophy, a modern philosophy, but it's based on ancestral knowledge that we are all together, and the respect and harmony with nature and humans and all kinds of beings. So it's a rescue of a really holistic well-being, and Buen Vivir is this is a small good. The circle of dialogues is following the principles of Freire education, that this kind of thing, that we are all together learning one from the other. And we actually have some axis of actuation, and I will share with you. I'll share with you the axis, the themes of the circles that we have by now, and afterwards I'll tell you what the real circles are going to begin in February. Okay, just a minute. I will share with you in a minute if I, okay. Okay, so we are, I don't know if axes or themes. My friends can help me. So we have indigenous peasants' knowledge, food security, and climate change. You can read there, but I'm reading together because it makes me easy to me to incorporate the axes that are not mine. We at CCP are working at this communication, art, and design that are going to begin in February or March. We are working on it. Please, can you close the mics that are not speaking? Thank you. So And this one, this food security and indigenous peasants, we are going to have a wonderful meeting to Bernardo Camal from where is he?
Mexico.
Mexico, Maya people, Maya ancestral culture. They are making a 16-year research, the results of this 16-year research on how to treat seeds. And they are presenting this research to us in February. We are going to spread the news afterwards. And ethical finances, the communication, the colonial epistemologies, gender and feminist economy, peace culture, citizens pedagogies, global citizenship, work trades and unions, and story activism. That one is of my girl of the eye. How can you say that? It's one of my passions. This one, I don't want to okay. So these are our themes, our themes, our subjects that were gathering collectively, and each one of them are just going to happen if someone or some group or some team take the responsibility for them. So actually we have some teams, some axes that already have responsible people really engaged, and the other ones are waiting for you. The other ones are waiting for wonderful people to be with us, to construct with us. Awesome. So what do I have to say else? The objective of the Circle of Dialogues is to build together knowledge in a new way and in transformative ways that will really take us to a new level of humanity. And Maza, do you remember something else?
No, dear, it's a good.
Okay, thank you.
For now.
Okay.
So we have lots of comments here about what has been said. Please continue to react in the chat. It's very important for us to give your opinions or feedback for us in the chat. And now, as Flavia, my colleague Flavia, will make a summary of what she has thought, has seen so far in the chat.
Okay. Hi, everybody.
Flavia, let me present you. Flavia is a Brazilian peace educator, very, very ardent, passionate one, member of CECIP and the campaign for a global curriculum of social solidarity, as well of the University of Buen Vivir. Flavia, go on.
Okay, so what I would like to invite you, you're reading right now on your screens, what you wrote about your, what you think when you read the words good living, Buen Vivir. I copy and paste here. So I would like to ask 30 seconds of silence reading the text that is on your screen. And after that, what question emerges in you after reading all this collective knowledge? I'll be in silence for 30 seconds for people to read.
Please, the microphone.
So feel, let it come, whatever it comes from reading what you've just created here together. What is the question? What is the doubt? What is maybe another affirmation? Whatever it is that comes in you, let's write it down on chat. We are here for this. This is what moves us. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing. And you're all welcome to write down. And I'm just reading, I'm going to see here. Whatever you feel like writing on the chat from reading what you all wrote here. And maybe by reading what people are writing on the chat, then you feel moved to write something. And it's okay if you don't feel like writing. It's totally fine. It's very powerful when we let ourselves engage and feel touched by each other's passion or truth. Hmm. Hmm. I can hear the typing coming from everywhere. I can hear the It's beautiful what's been written. Hmm. Wow. Well, I know that we can go on longer with this beautiful silent written conversation. I feel more connected to you now as you put out what's alive in you. And I want to say thank you. And I would love to be in this silence for much longer. But I know that there is a reason to be here today beyond this exchange. And I want to check with Madza and Alicia and Sylvia if now it's time for moving on. Okay, so, and all this that's been written, we're gonna save and share with you, but I can tell there will be a conversation going on. We're gonna have two conversations, one on the chat and another one talking. That's great. I don't know if it's great. Sometimes I think it's good, sometimes I don't think so. It feels like we're all talking at the same time, but that's how life is now. Okay, mwah. I'm gonna leave early today because I have another meeting, but I'll be here. Madza, you're speaker.
Thank you,
Madza, you're speaker. Yes.
Thank you so much, Flavia, for this beautiful moment of conversation. I see that Werner feels some of us, Werner and me and everyone, some of us feel isolated in our countries, in our cultures, in our neighborhoods. And conversations like this and initiatives like this, University of Buen Vivir, gives us the awareness that we are not alone, that our energies are connected, and when we must cherish this. And now we will have the opportunity to feel more and more connected, because it will start our circle of histories of Buen Vivir, histories of the good living. And I will start by calling Claudius Chicon. Claudius Chicon is an artist, an architect, a cartoonist, the founder and director of the Center of Creation of Grassroots Images in Brazil, a social organization that builds democracy and sustainability in our country and in the world. Claudius, are you there? Silvita, Claudius is there?
Yes.
Yes, I'm here. I'm here.
Good, Claudius. You have around 4 minutes, 3 to 4 minutes to tell our stories, Claudius.
Yes, and then I was born in Brazil, and along my life, I had the opportunity to live in many countries. I lived in Italy, I live in the Netherlands, the USA. For all.
I cannot hear. Is it me?
If we close our cams, maybe his connection will get better.
Okay. Thank you, Sylvia. Let's close our cams.
Claudius, could you repeat, please?
In several places.
Claudius, go on, Claudius. You may go on.
His connection is very poor.
So.
Okay, gracias.
Mazda, you can change to another story, another person, and then Claudius.
So, while Claudius is dealing with his internet connection, let's move to Ben. Ben Oko, are you there? Ben?
To all the...
Ben?
Yes, I'm here.
So, dear Ben, Ben is the founder of Amani Kibera Center of Education for Peace Through Sports. This center has been changing the lives of hundreds of children and adolescents in Kibera, the greatest slum in Kenya. So, Ben, Claudius will speak after Ben then. Ben, could we start?
Okay.
Madza, I lost.
Ben, can you unmute yourself? Ben?
Hello, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't know what
yourself.
happened. Okay,
Good.
unmuted.
I don't know. I don't know what
I
happened.
don't know what happened to all these technological things.
I think there are two
Let's
names.
try. Let's try, Ben.
Okay. Okay, thank you. Thank you, Madza, and everyone else in the house. My name is Ben Oko, and I'm a founder of a community-based initiative that is based in Kibera, Kenya. Kibera is one of the biggest informal settlements that we have in Nairobi. It's based in Nairobi with a population of about 1 million people. So I founded Amani Kibera in the year 2007 to pursue peaceful coexistence, to look at a happy and healthy community, a community that will be able to stand and address its issues in an nonviolent manner. We use a lot of sports to be able to promote to be able to address issues of human rights, issues of peace, and sustainable sharing of, I would say, resources. Madza asked me, this was basically inspired by challenges that we faced through last year during the pandemic, something that actually exposed us to the realities that we had never known. A lot of people lost their jobs, a lot of people lost their livelihoods, a lot of people were unable to pay their houses, were unable to cater for their basic expenses. And most basically suffered reduced income or completely lost income, just like elsewhere in the world. So we went out to speak to different friends, called on different people who will be able to support members of our community, some of whom had actually lost everything. So with that, today we have managed to support about 36 families to reestablish their businesses. But for us, the most important thing is not actually establishing their businesses. These people have now formed even a tighter bond. They are more of a community to get today together, and they work together, they learn from each other, they share their experiences, they share their strengths, and they actually try to develop each other more. They're living more as a community with their newfound friends, people they had never known existed before, or they did not know each other. But through this particular project, these people are now more connected together. And for us, in a way, this is promoting a peaceful coexistence within our community and reducing the different friction that arises from either political or tribal differences that we've always had. Thank you so much for your support, and I'm glad to be here with you today.
Thank you so much, my dear Ben. So let's move to Claudius Chicon, the founder and director of CECIP, Center of Creation of Grassroots Images, Brazil. Claudius, are you ready to speak? Claudius? Well, it seems Claudius is not ready to speak yet. Let's move to Nitya Gochi. Nitya, are you there?
I'm here.
Nitya, Claudius,
I'm here.
Claudius, are you there? So,
I'm here.
let's go, Claudius.
So I was telling that I was born in Brazil, and I lived along my life in many places like Italy, the Netherlands, USA, and for almost 10 years in Geneva, where I met Paul and started work with him. And during the last years where we lived in Geneva, we lived in an apartment. that was in a small village, which was very far, according to our Swiss friends. But in fact, it was 10 minutes from car to the center of the city. And it was a modern complex with 4 stores at the entrance of a village with a view of cultivated land around it. And the basement, every apartment had a closed space where it could guard items that would be used eventually during winter or during vacation when summer. And the space of these boxes had a very heavy door made of steel and concrete. And when I asked why it was so, they told me that this was, in fact, it was to receive all the dwellers in case of a nuclear war. And for how long? As long as the cans of food would last. It was absolutely surreal. And I thought then, and as I do now, that the heavy door solved hatred, discrimination, racism, and other prejudices that people would continue to have, even after a nuclear disaster. And now I think that without having really thought of it, everything that I did since that time, especially with CECIP, in the last 35 years, is to work, dialogue, and create that stimulate people to
Claudius. Connection of Claudius is unstable.
What a pity, my God, in the middle of the story.
Claudius was giving us such a beautiful metaphor for the construction of the University of the Buen Vivir. Claudius, let's connect again.
I think you have to drop to another person, Mazda, and then leave Claudius at the end, I would say.
So let's stay in the suspense of Claudius' story and move to Nietzsche Gocci. Nietzsche, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Hello, Claudia.
Good,
Lovely
Nietzsche.
to see you. And greetings from India.
Nietzsche
Very warm.
Yes,
please,
let me present you, Nietzsche. Nietzsche is a veterinarian from India, the founder member of ANTRA, an organization that works with cattle rearing in rural communities. And she focuses especially the women in these rural communities. Go on, my dear Nietzsche.
Thank you. I'm really honored to be here with you. And I have to thank you, Madza, for inviting me. It's also a pleasure to see some old friends like Ben and Will. Madza, Ben, Will, and I were together with some others in Prague about 5 years ago on another transformation project. We were reimagining futures at that point, if you remember, Madza. I'm sure you do. So it's lovely to be here and a part of this initiative. A little bit about myself. As Madza introduced me, I'm a veterinarian. I work with, and I'm from India. I work in India. I work with pastoralists. Many of the people I work with live in tents.
Sorry, I was shut.
Vamos ver depois que a Nietzsche falar, vamos ver.
Yeah, can I continue?
Sorry, Nietzsche. Yeah, please.
Yeah. So the people I work with live in tents, not permanent houses. They migrate for 9 months of the year. There's no piped water, no sanitation, and there's limited access for the children to schools and for the women to health services. These people are invisible and unaccounted for by the state, as only those who have land and are settled matter to the government that we have. But these people silently continue to provide milk, meat, wool to society, as well as they help maintain landscapes. The women are even more invisible. They cook, clean, raise children and young animals, process food like women all over the world. But some of them also produce outstanding embroidery and needlework. If you're lucky, you can see it. Our work with these groups has been to bring visibility to these communities, to make others in the universe realize that there are people who live differently from us, who live in different landscapes, different lifestyles, and they also to bring visibility to their knowledge systems, which are unique, and also as well as the challenges they face. We're looking at new approaches to see how knowledge can be fun and shared across new platforms, knowledge which moves horizontally, vertically, sideways, in different directions. We're also looking at processes where local knowledge systems are appreciated and valued. For several years, we've looked at local knowledge systems, recorded them, documented them, and shared them across the communities. For me, the important thing is the pandemic and the subsequent lockdown have revealed some very interesting findings. Like Ben said, although there was a lot of problems, many people lost their jobs and livelihoods, one came to the realization that it's not just important to be a doctor, but equally important are nursing, caring for animals and humans, as well as health and healing. We found that many people had to depend on local healing medicines, local systems, because no doctors would visit them during lockdowns. We learned that you need teachers not just to impart online classes, but with pedagogical skills to make learning accessible, fun, as well as relevant. The learning of the past may have no relevance because the future may demand new skills, new knowledge, new ways to function. We also realized the power of arts, music, language, literature, and storytelling to keep society together, to keep society sane as we were living in this cloud of fear. The spirit of questioning is important so we do not get buried in the information cloud that's surrounding us. Should we take the vaccine? Should we not take the vaccine? Is this medicine good? Is that medicine good? There's a lot of misinformation that communities get. So we need to keep questioning. We need to keep talking to each other. We need dialogue and discussion. The value of effective and compassionate communication to help others and reach out. In India, where many of you may know that there's a lot of discrimination along caste lines, across class lines, we found that during the lockdowns, people stopped reaching out, stopped sharing with each other, stopped helping each other. So we need more than ever now effective and compassionate communication. And as each society struggles with fresh new challenges, let us look at opportunities for sharing and caring to make the world a happier place. I believe that the University of Buen Vivir could be such a place. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you so much, my dear Nita. So inspiring your story. Claudius continues with problems with his internet, and he will write his story in the chat for us. So let's move to another storyteller. This is Bill Calhoun. Bill, are you there? Bill? Bill? Sylvia, is Bill there?
Yes. Can you hear me?
Yes, we hear you. Yeah,
all right.
Bill. Bill Calhoun is American and Brazilian, and he is a priest of the Yoruba Orisha Orunmila. He was a professor at the School for International Training in the Brazilian country director of Global Citizenship Education Organization, where the focus was on deepening learning of the current system limits and to learn how to be differently together. So, dear Bill, may the Orishas be with us now.
Thank you. Good morning and salutations of peace to everyone. I'm very happy to be with you and also to see some old friends from Eastern Europe, Ben, and all of the folks that we had the opportunity to be with there. As Mazda mentioned, I was born in the indigenous territories of the Miami people in the United States, in what is known today as the states of Indiana and Illinois. Since 1974, I have had the opportunity of being a part of the peoples of what's known today as Brazil. I've been particularly interested in building relationships between the African descendants of Brazil and the African descendants of the what's known as the United States. For the last 27 years, 28 years, I've been involved in the design and the administration of global citizenship education programs, particularly in Brazil. And these have been, these were programs that students from enrolled in universities in the United States would come to Brazil for a period of about 4 months. And generally this is known as a study away programs. And over the period of these 28 years, we had the opportunity to experiment with this idea of the plurality. How is it that...
Me parece interesante. Montamos este primer año así. Y ahora viene la Paula, viene el sábado.
Pardon. You may continue. Bill, please unmute yourself, please.
Hello?
Okay.
Okay. So in these programs, I mentioned we had the opportunity to experiment with this idea of the pluriversity. How is it that we could work with our host population in the northeast of Brazil, which is one of the areas that have been most impacted by the systemic violence of domination and of poverty and of exclusion, and of working with our students to take them out of, for a period of 4 months, these exalted accounts of modernity and modern subjectivities that are prevalent in our societies and our universities, and began to work with them on these spaces that have been often forgotten in our education, the spaces of the issues of spatiality, this idea of the expansionist control of lands that's often promoted by first world countries, the questions of epistemic racism, which is the elimination and the subjugation of difference, of how to work on the questions of the geopolitics of knowledge production, epistemic violence, and how that continues to conceal the continuous epistemic, cognitive, structural, economic, cultural, and military violences that subsidize this question of modernity, of how it is that we are today as a human species, and helping our students to understand this idea of coloniality by hearing the voices of those communities, of those groups that are the subjects of the injustice of what Mignolo calls the darker side of modernity, and helping our students to understand how, in fact, modernity depends on this coloniality. It depends on this violence for its existence, and that this coloniality and this violence is the hidden face of what we call our modern world. And this violence is a necessary condition for the existence of our modern world. And this has been important for us because if we are attempting to reimagine our world, if we're attempting to reimagine the possibilities of existence, unless we deal very clearly and straightforwardly with these systemic violences that have been created, particularly in the Americas over the past 500 years, but expanded globally, unless we are able to deconstruct this and understand how these violences are not only a subject of existence out there, but how these are embedded in our own minds, in our own hearts, in our own spiritualities, in our own worldviews. This idea of the Buen Vivir will continue to be an impossibility for us. So a good part of the challenge for us as educators is how to help ourselves and how to help those who will come to us as a mechanism for learning how to rethink, how to understand the systemic violence that we are a part of. And I think that this is the greatest contribution that potentially the idea of a university that is focused on this concept of Buen Vivir can bring, which is to help us to be more sensitive to how this systemic violence orients and guides our lives, and then to open the opportunities for communities and for groups and for education systems and for ways of being that have been discarded, that have been marginalized, that have been placed to the side and deemed to be irrelevant, unworthy, backwards, can now begin to form a part of the educational process and help us by bringing already existent parallel systems of existence that potentially in a new understanding of mutuality can help us to rebuild not only our education system, but our world. Thank you.
Thank you, Bill.
Thank you very much, dear Ben. Sylvia, please, there is a participant, Magnus Havelstrud, that will talk in the circle that is not getting the audio. Let's solve this problem. And now
I think it's his equipment, because there's no way to, there's no micro in his icon. He has no micro.
Can you send him a direct message, dear Sylvia? While I call now, Naomi Kichuru. Naomi, are you there? Naomi? Naomi? Naomi Kichuru from Kenya. Naomi, please unmute yourself, Naomi. Naomi? Naomi, could you please unmute yourself? Naomi is a Kenyan working in peace building, conflict resolution. She is a social researcher and practitioner and a youth mentor. Well, I think that that Naomi is having some problems in connecting because she is not unmuting herself. Sylvia, could you please, after talking to Magnus, talk to Naomi in the chat for her, to help her? And now I will pass the word to Anthony Jenkins. Anthony Jenkins, are you there? Anthony. Anthony Jenkins. Here is Tony Jenkins. So Tony Jenkins will speak, and then Naomi, that he's connected now, will speak. So Anthony Jenkins is from the United States, and he is the director of the International Institute on Peace Education. Go on, Tony.
Good morning, and thank you for calling on me, because I do need to step away in just a minute. But it's a true pleasure to be here and to see so many familiar faces and connect with some people whose names I've been familiar with for a number of years, but I've never had the pleasure to meet. So it's nice to be here in our virtual world sometimes. I just wanted to, I don't have a long story to share. I just wanted to make some brief reflections on what I'm hearing today, because it's deeply inspiring, and it reminds me of an effort I was involved in not that long ago in an effort to establish a National Peace Academy in the United States. And so many of the conversations that I hear us having now were the conversations that we were having then, but on a slightly smaller scale. I'm just finding the concept of Buen Vivir to be not just inspiring, but providing a really solid vision for us to work for. And in my work in peace education, I feel that the framework that was provided so well today by Alicia and others, that the potential of this as a concept for us organizing around creating communities, creating relations, shaping our pedagogies, and shaping our political practice is truly inspiring. So I just wanted to share that really quickly, and then I see that there are others here who are online to share as well. So thank you.
Beautiful, beautiful, dear friend. I think this is what we are doing now, creating and strengthening connections. And now let's go to Naomi Kichuru from Kenya. Naomi?
You have, the micro is open, you can talk, Naomi. Are you hearing us? I think she lost her connection, Martha.
So let's move to Vincent Huega from Tanzania. Vincent, are you there? Vincent.
Yes, I'm here.
Here's Vincent. Vincent, can you please unmute yourself and tell us our story of Buen Vivir, good living? Sylvia, can you help Vincent to connect?
Hello, Colectivo. Do you hear me?
The sound is a little low, Vincent.
You hear me?
Yeah, it's a little low, but it's okay. You can talk. Of the mic better.
You hear me?
Yes, now yes.
Okay, yes. As introduced, how are you guys? Yes, my name is Vincent Uhega from Tanzania. I'm working with an organization called Voice of Youth Tanzania. I'm a founder and executive director of Voice of Youth Tanzania. So Voice of Youth Tanzania, in shortly, is a youth-led based organization registered in Tanzania. We are working with the young people for empowerment. So we are working in 4 thematic areas. So we are working in health promotion, we're working in economic empowerment, we're working in environment conservation, and also we are working with the young people in civic engagement. We have been working for more than, we have been working with this organization for more than 4 years. We started this organization as a local movement, street movement, for supporting young, talented artists from the community. There, where we see the possibility of come up with an idea to start an organization. The movement is called for Talentum Network, Talent for Street Artists, but we see the possibility of need of starting the organization that we can reach a big number of young people in a different service. That's why we come up with, I come up with this idea to come up with a voice of youth Tanzania. So we are now Voice of Youth Tanzania. For currently, we are working with young youth and adolescents youth and young women. We open 10 clubs for young girls in secondary schools where we reach them with sexual and reproductive health educations. While also we conduct different dialogue of health issue in community. We're discussing about family planning, economic empowerment for young people and women, and we form economic groups that we link them with government fund and other stakeholders fund for them to sustain economically. We have been engaging young people in leadership. We train them in leadership issues. We link them with political issues, social issues. For this year, we had a general election. We are up some of young people going to the general election and win some different positions from local to parliamentary level. Yeah, we plan to reach more number of young people through giving them menstrual hygiene education, supply sanitary pads for most vulnerable adolescents, girls in secondary school, especially for that living in remote areas. That's what we do in Tanzania. So we're happy we met a master in Kenya for social solidarity economy meeting. Thank you very much for meeting us, like people around the world, as the change makers. Thank you very much.
Thank you, dear Vincent, for being with us and working with the younger generation. You are part of the future of the African continent and therefore of the world. So let's stay in Africa with Naomi Kichuru. Naomi, now you can talk. Naomi?
It seems Naomi didn't get to return, Mazza.
She has returned. I have admitted her.
Yeah, she's not here.
Yeah. No? So let's move them to Ecuador and Bernardo Salgado. Bernardo Salgado, are you there? Are you available?
I'm
Bernardo?
Right here.
Oh, thanks God, internet working. Bernardo Salgado is the International Affairs Director of the Salesian Polytechnical University, Ecuador, and he is the co-author of the book University as a Resource of Common Use. So go on, dear Bernardo.
Thank you so much, Mazda. We here in Ecuador have some work done with the past government, with Correa, about the bien común. However, we have to think that it's not just an idea of the president at that time. It comes from the indigenous way of thinking that pulls this idea in order to put in a level of a government in order to think people can live in this way. So based on that idea, the university with one that I work right now, the Universidad Politécnica Salesiana here in Ecuador, created a research group which we are part of it, and we are trying to see the commons and how these commons are presented in the university. So we, in this idea, start working in two publications. The first one is thought and how the values of this ecosystem, of this environment, have to be presented in the commons in order to create the university as a common pool resource. and then we give a step forward in order to see how the university can see as a common. The university is not, it is really different here in Ecuador, meaning our university, because we are young, we just have 26. Why we can have these ideas. So, and we are thinking as a university as a common pool of resource, not a private entity, not just an entity that have to give just education, but how this environment in the university can help people to enhance the capabilities in order to put them in the future in a project in their lives. So this is how we are thinking the university here. We have a lot of ideas. As a matter of fact, as being a university can collaborate to this new idea of the University of Buen Vivir, because we are right now, we are an institution that we are trying to support higher education, but at the same time have this idea that the university have providers, and it's not a private thing, it's an institution that gives and receives from the people that are in the institution in order to have these commons at the end. Thank you so much, Martha.
Thank you, my dear Bernardo, for these inspiring words. Let's return to Naomi if she can talk. Sylvia, can you locate Naomi?
No, she's not with us.
So, we have two people that we're not sure if they were coming. They could make. It's Lizardo, Cecile, Liz from Spain, Cecile, and also from Spain. They are not here. Are they here? No.
Magnus did it. We have Magnus. We have Magnus on the screen.
Let's go to Magnus.
But his micro is
and then Werner.
I can see his micro, but just in his screen. So I think only he can unmute himself.
Can you send him a message, Sylvia?
While
Magnus,
are you talking about me?
Yeah.
Talking about Magnus? Okay. Thank you. Yeah,
Magnus, may I introduce you?
Okay.
Magnus is an international peace educator. And Magnus, I've met you 30 years ago, I think, here in Brazil, in a speech you made at Palas Athena, or the University of Peace in São Paulo. And I never forgot what you said about combining the micro and the macro. So go ahead, Magnus.
Thank you. Yeah, I remember that meeting. There was a lot of people there.
Yeah, I was there.
Yeah. I wanted to tell you that I have been, the last year or so, I worked with in an author collective, 6 or 7 colleagues who are about the same age as me and who began their career or work life, so to speak, at the end of the 60s and beginning of the 70s. And we were at that time opposing, in the early 70s, the positivistic educational science at the University of Oslo. And we created an alternative to that that was called social pedagogy. And since then, a lot of students have been going to that study in pedagogy, which of course is influenced and inspired by critical pedagogy, and Paulo Freire is one of them. So this has been lasting then for a long time, 1970 till today. And us are now retired and we have lots of time. So we got together to produce this book about social pedagogy establishment at the beginning of the 60s and how that pedagogy is relevant today. And also how we in our practices have been influenced by those ideas at that time. It has been a very rewarding time to meet these colleagues that I've known for so long, and that we can cooperate and finding of relevance what we then thought of and that we have been practicing, I suppose, to in some way or other, all of us, in different sectors and different vocations and professions. So this book, I hope, will be published next year in Norwegian at the University of Oslo. And as some of you old friends I've seen here in the pictures, like Werner, I haven't seen you for a long time. You know that I'm also interested in the relationship between the three venues of education, the informal, the formal, and the non-formal. And knowing that we learn a lot from home and from our local communities, the informal sector venue. And unfortunately, we know that we are learning too much from the non-formal sectors these days in all kinds of social media and mass media. And there is no end in how we as human beings shall have to process all kinds of strange opinions, lies and fake news and from politicians and from corporations and from even religions, you know. So the non-formal influence of education is very important to me. And I think that formal education, like schools and universities, like our friend from Ecuador, talk about the university, the academy, becomes more and more important for us to deal with both the informal education that people carry with them and the non-formal education. And so hopefully the nation, the state, the government, the authorities will allow the university formal sectors and the formal school to be free and not to be imposed by ideology and indoctrination, but be free to handle all the information and influences we receive from both informal and non-formal in order to find the truth and to find a conviction about what is right and wrong and good and bad. And of course, I hope this is something that is very important for finding solutions to political issues of the day, including peace. Thank you.
Thank you, dear Magnus, for the great questions you posed to us with your speech. And let's turn to Werner Winter. Is he here? Werner from Werner Steiner.
Do you hear? Hello, you hear me?
Hello, Werner. He's a specialist in global citizenship education, isn't it, Werner? Can you share with us your story of hope?
Thank you. I think in some way you are my story of hope. The wonderful idea of the Universidad del Buen Vivir is a story of hope to me.
Yeah.
We had in Austria for 20, 30 years a so-called European Peace University, but which is not anymore working for all these bureaucratic reasons. And so I'm very happy that this kind of international university is now starting again. Do you hear me? Is okay? Yeah?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. And what I'm doing now is especially, since I'm a retired professor from Klagenfurt University, where I founded a Center for Peace Education and Peace Research, I'm still working on a master program on global citizenship education, which is also a kind of peace education. And I'm trying to combine, let's say, two ideas of two of my, if you want, spiritual leader. This is for peace education, the American professor Betty Reardon, and for the general philosophy, the French philosopher Edgar Morin, with his idea of terre patrie, homeland earth, tierra patria. And just in this moment, we are launching in for homeland earth, which is, I guess, very similar to Buen Vivir. It's the idea of an alternative, and to understand that we have only one planet, we have to share it, not only with other people, but with other living beings, the whole nature around us. And to share these ideas, we are starting now this campaign, Homeland Earth. And I guess this can fit wonderfully into all these activities that you propose. And let me finally say that I liked very much this speech of William, because he spoke how to link students from the global north with the global south. And this is exactly what I'm trying also in my master program, Global Citizenship Education. So far, we had not so many opportunities to link students from the south, but we have at least professors from the south. And so I hope with this new university, we will also have new opportunities, and we can maybe also contribute with our knowledge. Thank you so much.
Thank you, my dear friend. And now we have to close our circle, because we have the last stage is to talk about the opening of our new university, the opening of this collective dream that is the University of the Buen Vivir. But I would like to try to once more try to talk to Naomi. Naomi, are you available to talk for a few minutes about your hope story?
Yes, Mother. Thank you.
Good.
Thank you. And sorry, I got locked out.
Close the circle.
Yes, I got locked out by my network.
Yeah.
And my name is Naomi Kichuru from Kenya. I'm a peace builder and a chartered mediator. And our main work is right now is we're working with the pastorates in the northern and the northeastern and northern part of Kenya, where there is a lot of conflict, which is brought about by exclusion. And our main lobbying, even with our government, is inclusion. Because as we all know, there is no peace where there is no justice and inclusion. And decisions cannot always be made for us where we are absent as pastorates. And for that reason, and all other disadvantaged groups, for that reason, we are doing a lot of work in the area for education, teaching the people in the area why it is also environmental conservation, because most of the conflicts also arise from scarce resources, because as we know, pastorates, their livelihood is supported by livestock majorly. And when we don't have enough water and enough pasture for the animals, which are in thousands, it is also a huge conflict. And because of historical exclusion, which was brought in by our colonialists, these groups were left out, and they basically have very little, even in terms of education and development. So the areas in which we work in are very, very rough terrain, so that you'll go for long distances without any proper road, without any good clean water for drinking, where people share water with animals. But we are lobbying the people themselves and the government and other like-minded stakeholders to have this area developing, or areas, their regions, huge, vast regions, to have them developed, to have these people in these regions, no matter how, by using affirmative action, they be included even in employment, because that's the only way development will come in. To have, like now during the pandemic, and even after, when schools are reopening, thousands of children in those areas are not going to school. One, because of infrastructure, and because of also lack of structures. Children learn under trees, and when it rains, some of the schools which have simple structures are flooded right now. And that is the major work and reforms and types of inclusion that we are trying to lobby for and bring in, so that these areas can develop at the same level with the other parts of developed parts of Kenya. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Naomi. Great ending, inspiring ending. That, and you know that all end is a start to the end of the circle and the start of new cycles of stories of hope. And now I would like to, we are going to the last part of our meeting, and I would like to invite my friend Alicia Cabezudo to try to make the harvest of the circle in kind of 5 minutes, just to introduce how all the stories are connected with the University of the Buen Vivir that will be open next the day 24 January in the World Social Forum. Alicia, dear. Alicia?
Thank you, Mazda. Here I am. Thank you very much. I am enjoying the stories of our friends from the north, from the south, from the east and the west, which is quite interesting. And they are all going to be, I hope, members of our university also. So I am trying to make a kind of summary of the main ideas that I collect from the different stories, which is not easy, you know. So first of all, I think that please add your ideas in the chat as well, so you help me. I think that all the stories have a common denominator, is that to think education as transformative. So education is not a reproductive apparatus, which is generally like that, particularly in the formal education in all the levels. But it is a transformative, have to be not a reproductive apparatus, but a transformative machine, from my point of view. And so how we make functioning this machine, and that is the big challenge of our thinking and our present thinking at the light of the events that are happening at political level, at cultural level, and even at health level, as we all know. Also, I think that we share the idea that education is not neutral. Never, ever. That is a mistake, that it is repeated again and again, particularly in some sciences, but also in very many fields, the neutrality of education. Education is never, ever neutral and have not to be neutral, because education is alive and it is human living, so it can't be neutral at all. Also, I think that all of us share the idea of the practices as a need in order to learn and to teach. So the old model of matrix of Paulo Freire, describing the praxis as a combination of theories and practice, and then return again to theory in order to enrich the practices, is a model that we know and we choose for the University of Good Living. So this praxis as the main, how can I say, pedagogical tool in order to develop not only the practices on the field, but also this praxis idea when we research, when we search, when we are at other level, that is the theoretical level. So, transformative education, not neutrality, praxis as a common issue in all what we have said. I can add also the importance of the dialogic participation. I mean, the dialogue as a way of construction, the dialogue as a way of building knowledge with others. That is, in a way, the only way to build knowledge from my point of view. So the knowledge is not closed in some authorities. The knowledge is not closed in expertise. The knowledge is not only closed in libraries and books, but it is in our life. There is knowledge. In our feelings, there is knowledge. In our way of connecting with others, in our way of relationship with others. And there is an issue that we have to explore in our university. Last but not least, I have more, but I have a few time. I also think that education is a political issue. So the positive and the reproduction in the formal system tries to expand the idea that education is a theory, that you don't have to think politically unless socially. And that is exactly the opposite that what we think in good living education epistemology. Education as politics for transformation at individual and social level and at the humanity level. So that is why citizenship education, we have some professors here, and that is why culture of peace and peace education is so important in this university. And we have a cycle, I am a coordinator of that cycle, that is going to share the pedagogies and the didactics in order to share with the other cycles for working together. So participation, politics, not neutrality, transformation, dialogue, and praxis. Welcome to Good Living University and welcome in all your stories, dear friends. Thank you.
Thank you, my dear Alicia. So we are approaching the end of our meeting. So let's talk about the event that we shall disseminate in our networks. On the 24th of January, oh, I have internet problems.
We can hear you.
Do you hear me?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah.
Silvia, do you hear me?
Yeah, Mazda, go ahead.
You can talk. We can hear you.
We hear you.
Do you hear me?
Yes. We hear you. We see you. And I see Franz Kafka behind you.
I am. My internet is unstable now. So this event is on the 24th January is so important for us because we will have nothing less than Boaventura Santos speaking in the opening. And who is Boaventura Santos? Boaventura Santos is a Portuguese sociologist who investigates other ways to understand the world well beyond the European Occidental one. He was one of the creators of the World Social Forum 20 years ago. And he has built powerful concepts such as epistemologies of South, sociology of absence, ecology of knowledge. He's a scholar that is working hand in hand with social movements. And he has formulated a thought that may be one of the mottos of the University of the Buen Vivir, and I will read it for you. It is, we have the right to be equal when our differences make us inferior. And we have the right to be different when being equal kills our unique characteristics. This is a free translation of mine to English, but you can find this quotation in Portuguese and a better translation in English. Being different and being equal at the same time are to complement. We must foster to create buen vivir or good living for all. And now I will pass to Alicia and to Sylvia, who will talk to you a little bit about how to disseminate this idea in your territories, how to invite people to come to this opening that will be a celebration and a real opportunity to connect our strength in making true this collective dream of the University of Buen Vivir. Alicia?
Again, poor people, okay. First of all, you have to remember that the University of Well-being, la Universidad del Buen Vivir, is a movement that starts on the south, which doesn't mean only the south of Latin America. It is the south of all the world. So we are working with the other souths and with the norths. So the idea is that after the kicking of and the start of the university, I mean from the official point of view in the World Social Forum, you will, or if you want, if you agree, work with us on spreading the invitation to be part of the University Well-being in your organizations, in your universities, in your movements, and also to be part and invite people and yourself to be in our cycles, our dialogic cycles that Sylvia had shown. If you want, we can show again, which are they to now. We have now more or less 10 themes that we have discussed in the previous groups from September to December in those meetings that we show you that are in Portuguese, Korean, Japanese, English, Spanish, different language with different people. And these people, all of them knew are invited to be part of this group. So the university is starting, of course, online, as all the things now. And in this case, it's very positive, not always the online is, but it is because it gives us the possibility to be together from different continents. So first to spread the information, the University of Wellbeing opening with the most, we think, one of the most important thinkers in the present world on epistemologies of the South, that is Professor Boaventura dos Santos from Portugal. And spreading information here, Boaventura, and here also we are going to present with him the university and how we can then engage in the different cycles and in the different working groups. That is the first step we ask you to develop and to follow us. Silvia, do you want to continue, please?
Thank you. Thank you, Alicia. Hello. Okay, I cannot see myself, but I believe I'm here and all of you are here too. Can you sign me? I can see nothing. Okay, I'm a believer. So, guys, I thank you all for this wonderful meeting. And I put at the chat all the directions, the program, the day, and the time to our next encounter in 24 January at this World Social Forum. We don't have the link to the registration yet, but we'll spread it soon. So be aware, how can I say, take attention to your mails that we are going to send the link to registration, okay? So thank you very much. And I pass my word to my dear friends to close our meeting.
So now I have to be a believer also, because what I'm doing now is to saving the chat, saving our chat, so I can send you all this information. And I think my camera is not. Is my camera open? No.
No.
So here I am again.
Now, yeah.
So guys, I think that we did a wonderful job today. And what strikes me most is that we are creating a network of people linked by links of love. All people that are here love each other. 8% of them I know personally. I work with them. They know, we know each other for 30 years more and more. The others who I don't know Alicia or know Sylvia or know a person who knows, and not knows with the heart, not only knows with the. So I think what makes things happen is this connection based on the heart. First on the heart and then in the mind. So I think that our university will have a wonderful start in day 24, and we will be connected by email and by our websites, and we will look forward to seeing you in the circles of studies, and then we're looking forward to seeing you propose your own circles of studies in your territories, in your languages. So the day 24 of January will be the day in which we'll gather together again, and with the inspiration of Boaventura Santos' words, we will be more stronger in our connection, in our planetary connection. Okay, Sylvia, has you showed to the people the flyer they can disseminate?
I will show it, and I have to say something that I forgot, but I will remember. I'll remember soon.
This flyer that Sylvia is showing can be used by you to disseminate our opening, the opening of our university, because now you are all part of it, on the 24th January.
Okay. I put it also in the chat, this archive.
This file.
You know, and okay. When I remember, I send to you.
So let's write our words of goodbye in the chat, and I would like to invite everyone to unmute yourself and let's say goodbye in loud and voice, and making all the gestures, crazy gestures you are
I remember what I have to say. That's important.
Say it.
Okay, we are making a small video collage. A small video with videos from all of us who wish to send me some words, a poesy, or a performance, or a draw, something that to you is very meaningful for el buen vivir, el good living. So I invite you all to send us. I will put the email of the University of Buen Vivir, and you can send by WhatsApp, by email, a small video worth 30 seconds, no more, 1 minute, 30 seconds, because we are going to see it and make the opening of the next meeting with this college. Okay, and us videos, short videos.
So let's
open good ones. Let's
open the microphones and make a sign with your hands of how you are feeling now.
Bye.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you. It has been a nice time. Thank you very much. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Let's see each other on the 24th.
Yes, sure.
Thank you.
See you. See you.
Bye.
See you. Bye.
Bye.
See you soon, guys.